This is Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
Welcome back to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. It's me, Tony B. Rainier Avenue Radio, your South Seattle community radio station. This is our special Friday broadcast where we discuss the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. We started doing this on March 13th, and no, I did not think that we would still be here today with these conversations. Initially, there was a lockdown, businesses were shuttered, jobs were lost, and it looked bleak. Well, we're still in the midst of this, but there are stories of success emanating from our community. Joining me right now is Karl Johnson. Karl, are you there with me? Okay, let's see if we... Karl, are you there? Well, I see Karl's image here, but I don't hear the audio from Karl. Well, we'll see if we can get that worked out. There is a new business. Karl is the co-owner of Growlerz Dog Daycare, which just opened a couple of months ago in Columbia City. And this at a time when, again, a lot of businesses were closing. And so really excited to talk to Karl. I had an opportunity to talk to Caryn. Went by there, and the Growlerz Dog Daycare is right on Rainier. It's a little south of 42nd. And it's described as a place where you can take your dog and get beer at the same time. We'll see if we can get Karl's audio going here so we can talk to Karl about Growlerz Dog Daycare and let you know more about it, what's actually going to be happening, what you can do, this new business that's opened up during this period of time. And during this time, and it's pretty courageous to say, okay, you know what, they probably had this idea for a while, but we need to go ahead and move forward with this. And so we want to get you an opportunity to listen to Karl, find out more about the new dog daycare in South Seattle. So, Daniel, I think we have an image there now. Karl, are you with me? Hello, Karl. Can you hear me?
Still no audio.
Okay, we are still in the process of working this out. We do have the image of Karl up there right now, but Karl, apparently, if you can nod, Karl, if you can hear me, Karl, nod your head. Okay, so Karl is still not hearing me. I think that what we're going to do here is take a short break and then see if we can get this worked out. And if we come back from break, have this worked out so Karl can tell us more about opening a business during the pandemic in Columbia City. So, Daniel, why don't we go to break and see if we can come back and make this happen?
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio .world, and on Twitter at Rainier Ave Radio.
What is the coronavirus? Coronavirus is affecting people's ability to go unanswered questions about the coronavirus.
What's the deal with
I feel like we're not getting the whole story about the coronavirus. There are several patients at the hospital who are at end of life. What is the coronavirus?
Coronavirus disease 2019, otherwise known as COVID-19, is a respiratory illness that can spread from person to person. Patients with COVID-19 have had mild to severe respiratory illness with symptoms of fever, cough, and shortness of breath. There is currently no vaccine to protect against COVID-19. There is no specific antiviral treatment for COVID-19. If you're concerned and you have symptoms, don't go to urgent care. Call your provider or call the ER or urgent
Or if you
care.
don't have anyone's number, call King County's coronavirus line at 206-477-3977. Or if that line is busy, you can try 1-800-525 0127.
This message is a public service announcement of Rainier Avenue Radio.org.
Sunday nights from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's K-Fox Night Beat with DJ Nastiness.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing back the memories.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music.
Bringing Seattle's hottest music. Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world, breaking radio boundaries.
I'ma keep on running cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
We got the feeling now?
R&B, soul, funk, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. We give you all that and more on Star Time. Join me, Paul Pearson, for a 2-hour trip through the history of R&B. A new episode every week on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Come and get the feeling on Star Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
All right, we're back here at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. And Karl, are you with me now?
I'm here. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you, Karl. Karl, thanks for joining me right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Welcome to the community to start with.
Well, thank you.
And during this period of time, well, let's start with this. Growlerz Doggy Daycare. Tell everybody about Growlerz Doggy Daycare and what it is.
Well, we are indeed a dog daycare, Monday through Friday during business hours, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. But then in the evenings from 5 to 8, and on weekends, we are also a dog play space. So similar to kind of an off-leash dog park, but it's pay to entry, and we monitor the place, so there's a little bit more control over the environment. And we also have a tavern endorsement. So when you bring your dog into play for the evening play park or the weekend play park times, you can get yourself a beer, a glass of wine, or something like that to enjoy hanging out with your dog.
Well, to do this, I mean, I'm going to assume that you have a love for animals and pets. Why this particular business? What made you Growlerz Doggy Daycare? And you can also get something to drink there. What was your inspiration for starting this particular business?
Well, actually, Caryn, who's kind of having some logging troubles at the moment, she should be with us shortly. But it was kind of Caryn's brainchild. I've had dogs for years and years, and had long tried to consider some sort of a dog business to get into. Kind of grew bored with my other job, and Caryn was looking for a business partner for this venture, and it sounded like a good fit for me. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to give it a shot.
Okay, and I think that we have Caryn on the line with us. Caryn, are you there with us?
I am here. I'm obviously the one with the internet savvy because I can't have Zoom to work. But thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Okay, and Caryn, again, same thing. Welcome to the community. I was talking to Karl and saying, okay, obviously there's a love for pets, animals. What inspired you to start this particular business, Growlerz Daycare, or Doggy Daycare?
Yeah, it's a daycare in the park. Yeah, I was inspired actually, to be honest, by another business. There's another business up in Lake City that does it's not exactly the same, but similar model. And my friends and I like to go up there, but it's kind of a long time. If you gotta go through Seattle, you've been through that yourself. It's too far. It takes too long. And we really wanted to be a little more part of a bigger community, start to create a community space. So it's important for us to, if we were going to make a space of our own, do one that's in a community with walking distance and really be part of that versus being a destination. So we're lucky to find this space and take on this way.
Okay, the connection I'm not is a little lagging that you have. I don't know if it's on speakerphone for some reason. It's I'm not hearing you quite as clearly as I'd like to, and I want to make sure that our listeners hear what's going on here. So, Carl, I'm gonna go back to Caryn in a minute, but I want to start with you here. During this time, when you chose to open a business, we've been talking about the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle, and and Caryn, you might have to turn your speaker down. That might be what it is. But during this particular time when businesses are being shuttered, people are losing, you opened a business. And it is that type of resilience and that type of spirit that gives people hope during these times. Let's talk about that. And some might have said, well, what are you doing opening a business during a time when businesses are shuttering? What was going on with you?
Well, certainly the goal was not to open, was not to plan the opening with the coronavirus or any sort of global pandemic. But we were looking at our schedule was having us possibly opening beginning of April, and we were on course for that until stuff started to happen, and man, we just needed those last couple of inspections to go, and they shut all that stuff down, so we had to get put on a holding pattern for a little bit, about 6+ weeks until we could get those last inspections in and go ahead with it. And we kind of had no choice. Landlords starting to want rent, and we got to open at some point. So Memorial Day it was. It was not the ideal type of opening, but we believe in the model and the business. We love the location. I think we should be able to ride this out and make it work in the long run. But it's totally not been the sort of opening that we wanted to have. But trying to find ways to make it work and get people in the door. Dogs in the door.
How has it worked out for you thus far, Carl? Starting during this, and again, people are isolating, so there's not a lot of opportunity for actual interaction. How have you gotten the word out? When I went there, to drop off a sign for the Columbia City Hillman City Arts District, and I was greeted by, I don't know, maybe a dozen dogs who were excited and barking. And then Caryn, I don't know, she must be a dog whisperer. She's like, "Hey, everybody quiet," and they all calmed down. It was phenomenal. I couldn't believe
they
it.
respect Caryn. They respect Caryn. Better than me. I think they're noisier with me.
Again, how were you getting the word out? What were you finding to be the response from the community during this particular time that we're in right now?
It's it's been a lot of social media and a lot of word of mouth, and we're finding that week after week we're building our registry of people signing up within our system and getting ready to come in and use the place, but we still have it seems a certain core of maybe 60 people that we feel are really coming in and using the place out of, I don't know, 200 plus that have registered. So there is a challenge with trying to entice people to, take a chance to get out of their house and come in and give us a shot. We've been bringing food trucks in on the weekends. Typically on Saturdays, we've had a food truck coming in. That certainly has helped draw some people in, and even gets people just walking down the street to come in. Hey, great, they got a food truck. We can get a drink in there. Let's go in and check it out. We've got plenty of room out back. There's 7,000 square feet of outdoor space in the backyard area. Plenty of space to get people in here with social distancing and being able to enjoy themselves.
Let me see. Caryn, are you still there? I want to see if maybe if you cut the speaker down.
They're on speakerphone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's probably not the best connection. And so I'll probably just go back to Carl because it's like it's echoing, duplicating, and again, I think that might be if there's a speaker on. Sometimes that happens, and we get that type of feedback. So, if you can cut the speaker down and still hear me, that might help. Let's see. Are you still?
Can you hear me any better now?
Still kind of having the same thing happen. You're listening.
Yeah, I'm getting it on my end too.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio .world. We are highlighting Growlerz Doggy Daycare, which went ahead and opened up. And again, this is something that you weren't predicting. And I just think this is one of the stories of resilience and success emanating from our community as people battle their way through this coronavirus pandemic. Carl, if you could, I described it as being physically located just south of 42nd, right on Rainier Avenue. And you've got a lot of property there. You kind of described it, but kind of give us a theater of the mind for folks who are saying, well, how does this work? I take my dog. I can also have a beer. Can you kind of describe the lay of the land for us that you have up there at Growlerz Doggy Daycare?
Oh, I am here a bit, Carl, so maybe this is better if I just kind of move over.
That's a little better.
Karyn's voice has a lot of delay and echo in it to begin with, so just naturally.
I'm meant for radio.
I think are you in the same room, Caryn? You might need to go to a different room. That might be important.
We're gonna share my machine here for this. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Better?
Okay, yeah, you're coming in real clean. So yeah, let's kind of give a theater of the mind, lay of the land for folks, and so that they can visualize when you're telling them what they will see, what their pets will see when they come into Growlerz Doggy Daycare.
Yeah, that's a great question. When they come in, there is a little under 2,000 square foot of indoor space with a tavern attached to it. So that we can host some indoor playtime, indoor daycare. And then as you turn the corner and go outside, basically it's a dog oasis, a giant green space with some turf laid down. And the dog's weighing in on that right now. He says, yes, he loves the turf space. Exactly. And we have a couple pools out there. We have about a 1,200...
Sorry, we're in the middle of daycare.
Oh yeah, this is live.
About a 1,200 square foot covered space outside. So in the Seattle rain or inclement weather, yeah, you can take we're live. You can take shelter under there while your dog plays, and plenty of space to sit in the sun or in the shade and have yourself a drink. And your dogs love it. Most dogs. I am really the happiest when I see a dog reluctant to come in and then not want to leave at the end of their playtime, which is pretty typical.
Now, when I came in there, like I said, it must have been at least a dozen dogs in there. And so, tell us how this works. Folks can come in with their own dog, or you can come in and you can leave your dog. Kind of give us how does it work? What are the options that folks have? Hello, Karl, Karyn.
Well, like I said, Monday you can leave your dog here with us. Weekdays, 7 for the straight up daycare. I'm sorry, what's that?
Hello.
Freezing up some, but
okay.
The miracle of the internet is working against us here a little bit. So I was just reiterating that yes, it's you can drop your dog off Monday through Friday, weekday or during work hours 7 to 6. Play park, you're kind of dog's in your control. It's kind of like a off leash dog park at that point. We chaperone, kind of, if you will, referee the outback area, but you're kind of in control of your own dog at that point.
Okay, and I do have to ask Karyn, are you still there? Caryn, are you still there?
I am. I am.
I have to ask you, Caryn. You know, when I walked in,
I am here.
there were about it seemed like 12 or more dogs barking, having a good old time, and you pretty much just said to all the dogs at one time, "Hey, knock it off," and they did. How did you do that? How did you?
I asked myself that. I'm not sure. You know, when you have we have a really good, solid base community right now of people bringing their dogs, which means we see the same dogs a lot.
Okay.
And so we are able to establish some ground rules with these dogs. We want this experience for the owner and the dog to be a positive one all the way around. And what that means is we try to reinforce some of the rules of the house, which is don't jump. You got to sit when you're asked, and you got to be quiet. You can't just bark and set. This is not a place where you just want to go off the rails. I want you to play. I want you to have a good time, but I want you to also respect me and respect Karl, respect the place. And so that's how we act. Well, that's what we ask of the dogs when they come in here. We ask them, not to go all out crazy, but that there are rules of the road, and we enforce them. So for me, the dogs know me well enough that when I'm serious, I'm serious. So.
And Caryn, I want to ask the same question that I asked of Karl. Starting this business during a pandemic, what's that been like? Again, the response from the community, from your perspective, and just where you're at right now. If you'd like to share with our listeners and our followers, again, what I'm calling a pretty courageous effort and a resiliency to try to make this happen. Not trying to, making it happen during all of the things that are going on right now.
Yeah, this is a business that relies, or in pre-COVID world, sort of was reliant on people going to work, right? They would drop their dogs off for a safety before they go to work. We have people who are not necessarily going to work. So how do we restructure how we market ourselves to people? And then the second half of the business in the evening relies on being social, right? Relies on our nature to want to be around people with the same likes and the same sort of priority, taking care of their dogs, having their dogs be a part of their life. And both of those things have diminished greatly during COVID. So we've had to rethink how we market, not necessarily bring your dog here while you're at work, but get your dog off your Zoom call when you're trying to work from your sofa. They're going to still need some quiet time. How are we going to approach that? We want our Zoom and yours to be quiet and focused for your work. And in the evenings, we're really emphasizing our COVID guidelines. And our community has responded phenomenally in terms of showing up and understanding and giving us a try during this time and liking it enough to come back again and again. And then in the evenings, they've really been mindful of the masking and the social distancing, despite the fact that there is a want of people to be together. They're being super respectful of that. And I think that's made the difference in the end.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world, South Seattle's community radio station, broadcasting in the interest of South Seattle. This is our special Friday broadcast of the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. And we've been highlighting businesses today that are surviving and thriving during this time. And again, stories of great resilience. We spoke earlier about the Big Day of Play, which is a big event that always takes place annually at Rainier Playfield. Won't happen this year, but it will be happening virtually. We also spoke with Leja and got some poetry from her about the Be Ready Be Hydrated campaign from Vita Agency. We just recently spoke with Tiana Garrett from the Taproot Bar and Cafe. And now we have the opportunity to tell you about Growlerz Doggy Daycare, which just opened up a couple of months ago. Karl and Caryn, for folks who want to find out more about you, get more information on you, find out how they can take advantage of this opportunity, where can they go and what can they do?
Well, for starters, you can always stop in and ask. Or at the very least, you can check us out online at growlerzseattle.com. Growlerz with a Z. We'll change up in the spelling there, but growlerzseattle.com. The website's pretty thorough, giving you information on the place, and you can sign up, register your dog there. Again, you don't have to have a dog to come in. If you want to just, if you're looking for a place to get out, to get a beer in the evening or a glass of wine and socially distance with a couple people, we have plenty of space to accommodate out back.
Okay.
Come on in.
We're almost out of time here, but I'm glad we got the technical issues kind of resolved to get this. But I want to give both of you an opportunity, if you can take 30 seconds to a minute, for final words here that you'd like to share with our listening audience.
I really just want to say thank you. This neighborhood has been extremely friendly, extremely gracious, and extremely supportive when times are so questionable. And there would be no way we would have the ability to think we can survive this if we didn't have the support of this amazing community. So I really just want to say thank you.
All right. Well, welcome to the neighborhood. And Karl, final words from you.
I will reiterate that it has been a challenging time. This was not the opening we were hoping. It's a lot more hours of work than I think either of us were thinking. We're still waiting to be able to bring staff on. But we are optimistic that we're going to get there. And again, we've had a great core of people coming in and using the place, and pretty sure that once word gets out from those people that they've had a good experience, others will feel comfortable enough to give us a try and come on in.
And what's the address again? Like I said, I mentioned it's on 42nd and Rainier, just south of 42nd. What's the exact address?
It is 5269 Rainier Avenue South.
5269 Rainier Avenue South. Bring your dog. You can get a beer and wine. Or you know what? You can just go get a beer and wine and watch somebody else's dog.
That's right.
Don't forget your vaccination records. But outside of that, not too much else you need.
Well,
dogs' vaccination records.
Not the people's. Although the people's wouldn't hurt.
Well, hey, again, welcome to the community, and thanks for being here and doing what you're doing, and much success and good luck to you. My guest, Karl.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having us.
Tony, thanks for having us. Thanks. I appreciate it very much.
You're listening again to Rainier Avenue Radio.World, South Seattle's community radio station. And excited again to be able to highlight another business in our community, showing what we do and how we get down here in South Seattle. That's it. That's all the time that I have. That's going to do it for the kid. We'll be back next week, next Friday, with more information for you on the impact of the coronavirus on South Seattle and surrounding communities. Until then, remember, whether you believe you can or whether you